and he got to the side of us, and there was like a snap sound, and when I turned to get away again, there was another pit bull, larger, a gray-colored pit bull. The two of them together had got Roman and started dragging us across the street. And that time I was grappling with them, trying to get my dog away. They had dragged me all the way across the street, and at that point I got slammed to the ground. And I was trying to get Roman away from them, and the gray one had Roman in his mouth. So I was just kicking him and punching him to get him away, and he wouldn't. And he started to drag Roman underneath the bush. And at that point, I just remember looking up, because I don't remember what happened at that point, because I don't know if I was knocked out or anything. And then I just got up and I started screaming, because he just kept going and dragging him across the yard that was across the street from my house, which was on Grandview. And Terri heard me, and she came out, and she got something to get the dog off of Roman, and the orange and white one ran. And the other one had Roman still in his mouth. So I ran over to him, and Terri swung a racket to get him away, and he dropped Roman, and I didn't know what to do. She told me to just grab my dog, and we ran in the house. And at that time, everybody, Terri and her daughter, everybody that lived downstairs, were all in the house because they didn't know what was going on. And I had Roman in the orange and white one. Pitbull had just ran on the porch and was sitting there until the police came, and then I don't know what happened, because I was just confused and I was in shock, and I just wanted to just get my dog to the hospital, because he was just bleeding literally everywhere. There was just so much blood.
One side, one was like in there, I don't know whether it had a grip on it or not, but it had its face right in there with it, you know? So
both dogs were on the neck of...
Oh yeah, both dogs were on the neck of that one. I saw it. I was like, I'm telling you, I'll never forget it. Never forget it. But now it's like my whole neighborhood, we're afraid they're going to come back around again. And
attempted to break up the fight, so to speak, to get the dog away from the pit bulls. Once that had happened, she ran back into her house with the dog. Excuse me. So at that point, the ACO had arrived. Prior also to entering the house, Patrolman Laniers, who was the canine officer, and I were able to get a leash on the orange and white dog and put it in the rear of my cruiser.
Something I ever wanted to happen with my dogs. When we first moved to 90 Johnson Street, it was a partially fenced-in area. So I had the whole area fenced in professionally when we moved there. There were some existing fences from our neighbors, and they were standing, there was no holes in them, but they were older, which we didn't know at the time. So the first time that the gray dog, which is Titan, got out, it was through the neighbor's fence that was rotted, and he just walked right through it. We didn't realize, but he pushed right through it and broke through it. When that happened, we put a blockade in front of it until we could have somebody come and replace the fence with a brand new fence. All the pictures are there. I could explain it further if you'd like to know. So that was brand new fence, and then there was the chain link across the back, which Liz had described to you, that we thought maybe because it was elevated with it was an old foundation from a long time ago, I guess, and then the fence was maybe this high, so it was only maybe a 3.5-foot clearance. Great things to say about my dogs, and if you met them, you would see the same. There's many times where lost dog at Speedway on County Street, very friendly, no collar, police won't let me share it. Police picked him up around 6.
This picture, he spent an hour at the cops' chairs. This is at the police office.
This is all at the police station.
You know, he thought he was such a friendly dog. They'd leave him up front. They was taking pictures, selfies with him. Another officer actually picked up Titan one time. Didn't bring him to the dog office, officer lady. He actually brought him to my house, called his wife. He brought his dog down. They were all playing in the front yard.
Okay. As law. Okay.
As the law pertains,
as
yes.
Law. But in your experience in this situation, what has the Board of Selectmen done? Have there been?
Police officers get to know these dogs. However, based on the testimony that was presented this evening and being objective, Our job as selectmen is to ensure the safety of all citizens in our community, everyone. That's a huge responsibility. And hearing that the dog officer said that she has acquaintances with this dog, being that they've been loose, the police department has had the dog, or the dogs, one or the other or both at the same time, in the police station because someone has found them loose and brought them to the police station, troubles me. And the testimony was also presented by a few people that they're animals and you never know what they're going to do. And the attorney had mentioned that. And you're absolutely correct. You never know what they're going to do. I myself am a dog owner. And I applaud your efforts as well in what you're trying to do in repairing the fence and taking care of all the issues concerning the yard and trying to keep your animals contained within the yard. Officer in that. These animals, in my opinion, would be considered a dangerous animal by definition and by the testimony that was presented here this evening. There's no question in my mind that that's the category that they would fall in. I don't know if you want to add anything, because we can make a motion. I would.
So what happens if it's deemed a dangerous dog?
Then we have
There's a list of things.
Then we have a list of items in which we could.
Do you want me to go over those things before you?
First, let's do a motion to determine how we classify the animals that were in the incident. And as the counselor said, this is based upon the behavior of the animals. It could be a poodle, it could be a French Mastiff, it could be a Chihuahua. It's based on the behavior of the animal. And the behavior, according to what we're presented as definitions of the animals, constitutes a dangerous dog.